Hello, everyone. My name is Emily. Welcome to English Club. I am so happy to be here with you today. I hope you are all doing wonderfully. Today, we are going to talk about something personal and powerful, something that connects us all as human beings.
Hello, Emily. How are you today?
Hi, Paul. I am doing great, thank you. How about you? I was thinking about our topic today, and it made me reflect on my own journey. We all have stories about where we come from, what we have experienced, who we are becoming.
That is beautiful, Emily. And that is exactly what we are discussing today. How to tell your story in English, your personal story, your life experiences, your journey. This is one of the most meaningful things you can share with others.
Yes, and for English learners, being able to tell your story is so important. When you meet new people, when you make friends, when you go to job interviews, when you connect with others, they want to know your story. Who are you? Where did you come from? What experiences shaped you?
Exactly. Your story is unique. Nobody else has your exact experiences, your perspective, your journey. When you can express your story in English, you can truly connect with English speakers. You can be yourself, not just someone who speaks correct grammar.
Right. And telling your story is not just about vocabulary and grammar. It is about emotion, authenticity, vulnerability. It is about sharing who you really are. That is what creates real human connection.
Absolutely. And today, we are going to help you learn how to structure your story, what vocabulary to use, what phrases are natural, and how to make your story engaging and authentic. We want you to feel confident sharing your unique journey in English.
Yes, and we are going to share parts of our own stories as examples. This way, you can hear how real people talk about their lives. Not textbook examples, but real, authentic storytelling.
That is right. Now, before we dive into storytelling techniques and vocabulary, let me remind our viewers about something.
Yes, please do.
Before we start today's topic, please like and subscribe to our channel for more English learning videos. Your support helps us create meaningful content that goes beyond grammar and vocabulary to help you truly communicate in English. We appreciate every single one of you.
Yes, please take a moment to like and subscribe. We are here to help you express your authentic self in English. Thank you so much for your support.
Thank you. Now, let us talk about telling your story. Emily, where should someone start when they want to tell their life story?
Great question. The beginning is often the most difficult part. I think it depends on the context. If someone asks, "Tell me about yourself," that is very broad. You don't need to start from birth. You can start with where you are now and then go back to explain how you got here.
Yes, that is a good approach. For example, I am currently a teacher in New York, but I was not always here. I grew up in a small town in California. My journey from there to here has been quite interesting.
Perfect example. You give your current situation, hint at your past, and create interest in your story. This opening makes people want to hear more. Now, if you want to tell your complete life story, you usually start with where you were born and raised.
Right. I was born in Seoul, South Korea. I grew up there with my parents and two sisters. My childhood was happy and simple. We did not have much money, but we had love and support.
This sets the scene. It gives context about your origins. Yes, and when you talk about your childhood, you usually use past tense. I was, I grew up, I lived, my family was. You are describing past situations and experiences.
You can talk about significant events or moments that shaped you. When I was 10, my father lost his job. That was a difficult time for our family, but it taught me about resilience and the importance of supporting each other.
Beautiful. You see how Paul connected an event to a lesson or meaning. That is what makes storytelling powerful. Not just listing facts, but showing what experiences meant to you, how they changed you, what you learned.
Exactly. Anyone can say, this happened, then that happened. But meaningful storytelling explains why these events mattered, how they affected you, what they taught you about life or yourself.
Right. Now, let us talk about useful phrases for storytelling. When you start your story, you can say, "Let me tell you about," or "I want to share my story with you," or "Here is my journey."
When you talk about your childhood, you can say, I grew up in, or I was raised in, or I spent my childhood in. These all describe where and how you were raised.
When you transition between different periods of your life, you can use time phrases. When I was young, as a teenager, in my 20s, a few years ago, eventually, later on.
Yes, these time markers help your listener follow your story chronologically. They understand the sequence of events. When I was young, I dreamed of becoming a doctor. As a teenager, I worked hard in school. In my 20s, I went to medical school.
When you talk about challenges or difficult times, you can say, I faced, or I struggled with, or it was difficult when, or I went through a hard time. For example, I faced many challenges when I first moved to a new country.
And when you talk about overcoming challenges, you can say, I overcame, or I got through it, or I learned to deal with, or that experience made me stronger. For example, I overcame my fear of speaking English by practicing every day.
When you talk about important decisions, you can say, I decided to, or I chose to, or I made the decision to. For example, I decided to leave my job and pursue my passion for photography.
When you talk about turning points, moments that changed your life direction, you can say, that changed everything, or that was a turning point, or from that moment on, my life was different.
Yes, turning points are crucial in storytelling. They are the moments when your life path shifted. Meeting my mentor was a turning point in my career. Or, that failure changed my perspective on success.
Now, let me share part of my story as an example. I grew up in a small rural town. My family was not wealthy. My parents worked hard just to provide basic necessities. As a child, I did not have many opportunities. There were no language schools, no libraries with English books, no internet.
How did you learn English then?
When I was 15, a volunteer teacher came to our town. She was from America. She offered free English classes in the community center. I was curious, so I joined. That was the beginning of my English journey. That volunteer teacher, Miss Johnson, changed my life.
What made her so impactful?
She believed in me. She saw potential in me that I did not see in myself. She encouraged me to dream bigger, to believe that I could go to university, travel the world, do meaningful work. Without her encouragement, I might have stayed in my small town forever.
What happened next? I studied hard. I practiced English every chance I got. I applied to universities in the city. When I got accepted, it was a dream come true. But it was also scary. I had never lived away from home. I had never been to a big city. Everything was new and overwhelming.
How did you adapt?
It was difficult at first. I felt out of place. Everyone seemed more educated, more sophisticated, more confident than me. I questioned whether I belonged there. But I remembered Miss Johnson's words. You are capable of more than you know. So I pushed through the self-doubt. I worked harder than everyone else, and gradually I found my place.
That is a powerful story, Paul. Notice, everyone, how Paul structured his story. He started with his background, introduced a turning point, described challenges, and showed how he overcame them. This is classic storytelling structure.
Thank you, Paul. And that is just part of my story. Everyone has multiple chapters. My university years, my first job, learning to teach, moving abroad. Each phase is its own story within the larger story of my life.
Exactly. Your life story is not one story, it is many stories. And you do not always need to tell everything. Depending on the situation, you might share just one chapter. In a job interview, you might focus on your professional journey. With new friends, you might share personal experiences.
Right. Know your audience and adjust your story accordingly. Now, Emily, would you share part of your story?
Of course. I grew up in a middle-class family in a suburban neighborhood. My childhood was comfortable and stable. My parents were supportive, I did well in school, everything seemed predictable. I was expected to go to college, get a good job, live a conventional life.
But something changed?
Yes. When I was 19, I traveled abroad for the first time. I went to Thailand as a volunteer. That experience opened my eyes to a completely different world. I met people from all over the world, I saw poverty I had never witnessed, I experienced kindness from strangers. I realized how small my world had been.
How did that change you?
It changed everything. I realized I didn't want a conventional life. I wanted to explore, to learn, to help others, to grow. When I returned home, I felt restless. The life that had seemed fine before now felt limiting. I made a decision that shocked my family. I decided not to pursue the career path everyone expected. Instead, I decided to travel and teach.
How did your family react?
They were worried. They thought I was making a mistake. They wanted security for me, stability, and I understand that. Parents want the best for their children. But I needed to follow my own path, even if it was uncertain. So I did. I taught English in 5 different countries over 7 years. I lived simply, I earned little money, but I was rich in experiences.
Do you regret that choice?
Not for a moment. Those years shaped who I am today. I learned independence, I developed confidence, I gained perspective. I met incredible people. I discovered my passion for teaching and connecting across cultures. Yes, I could have earned more money with a conventional career, but money is not everything. Experience and growth matter too.
Exactly, and that is an important message. When you tell your story, own your choices. Do not apologize for your path. Every person's journey is unique and valuable. Whether you took a conventional path or an unconventional one, whether you succeeded immediately or failed many times, your story matters.
Absolutely. Now, let us talk about common themes in personal stories. Many stories involve overcoming obstacles. I faced this challenge and here's how I dealt with it. This shows resilience and problem solving.
Many stories involve personal growth. I used to be this way, but through experiences, I became this way. This shows self-awareness and development. For example, I used to be very shy. Through teaching, I learned to be confident in front of people.
Many stories involve important relationships. This person influenced me, or this relationship taught me something valuable. People shape our lives significantly. My grandmother taught me the value of patience, or my best friend showed me what true loyalty means.
Many stories involve pursuing dreams or passions. I always wanted to do this, and here's how I made it happen. Or sometimes, I wanted this, but I discovered something better along the way.
And many stories involve finding purpose or meaning. I was searching for something and I found it through this experience. Or, I thought success meant one thing, but I learned it means something different.
These themes resonate with people because they are universal human experiences. We all face challenges, we all grow, we all are influenced by relationships, we all search for meaning. When you tap into these universal themes, your story connects with others.
Exactly. Now, let us talk about how to make your story engaging. First, be specific. Instead of saying, I face challenges, say exactly what challenges. I struggle to pay rent while studying full-time is more vivid and real than I had financial difficulties.
Second, include emotions. How did you feel during key moments? I felt terrified when I arrived in a new country not knowing anyone is more powerful than I moved to a new country.
Third, use descriptive language. Help your listener visualize your story. I lived in a tiny apartment with peeling paint and a window that overlooked a busy street. Creates an image. I lived in a small apartment is less engaging.
Fourth, vary your sentence structure. Mix short sentences with longer ones. Short sentences create emphasis. I made a decision. I was leaving. Longer sentences provide detail and context. This rhythm keeps your story interesting.
Fifth, use dialogue when relevant. If someone said something meaningful to you, quote them. My mother said to me, follow your heart, not other people's expectations. Those words gave me courage.
Dialogue brings your story to life. Sixth, show, do not just tell. Instead of saying I was sad, show it. I cried myself to sleep every night for a month. Instead of saying I was determined, show it. I woke up at 5 every morning to study before work.
These techniques make your story vivid, emotional, and memorable. Now, let us talk about different contexts for storytelling. In casual conversations with friends, your story can be informal, emotional, and detailed. You can share vulnerabilities.
In professional contexts like job interviews, your story should focus on relevant experiences, achievements, and skills. You can still be authentic, but stay focused on what matters for the job. In my previous role, I led a team through a difficult transition. Here is what I learned. In introductions at social events or networking, your story should be brief and interesting. Give highlights that invite questions.
I grew up in Brazil, moved to Canada for university, and now I work in renewable energy. It has been quite a journey.
When writing your story, like in a blog or memoir, you have more space for detail, reflection, and literary techniques. You can develop scenes, explore emotions deeply, and take time with your narrative.
So, adjust your storytelling to the context. But in all contexts, be authentic. Do not create a fake story to impress people. Your real story, honestly told, is always more powerful than a fabricated, impressive story.
Absolutely. Authenticity resonates with people. People can sense when someone is being real versus putting on an act. Your genuine story, even if it includes failures and struggles, is compelling because it is true.
Now, let me give some final tips for telling your story in English. Tip 1. Practice. Tell your story out loud multiple times. To yourself, to friends, to your language partner. The more you tell it, the more natural it becomes.
Tip 2. Write it down first if that helps. Write key points or a full narrative. This helps you organize your thoughts and find the right words. Then practice speaking it naturally, not reading it.
Tip 3. Do not worry about perfect grammar. Communication and emotion matter more than perfect English. A story told with passion and authenticity but imperfect grammar is better than a grammatically perfect but emotionless story.
Tip 4. Be comfortable with pauses. You do not need to rush. If you need to think of a word, pause. Take your time. Pauses add drama and give your listener time to process what you said.
Tip 5. Watch how native speakers tell stories. Notice the structure, the emotion, the gestures, the pacing. Learn from real storytelling, not just textbooks.
Tip 6. Start with small stories. You do not need to tell your entire life story at once. Start by sharing small experiences. Let me tell you about an interesting thing that happened to me last week. Build your storytelling confidence gradually.
Excellent tips. Storytelling is a skill. Like any skill, it improves with practice. The more you share your story, the better you become at expressing it clearly and compellingly.
Yes, and remember, your story is valuable. Your experiences matter. Your perspective is unique. Do not diminish your story by thinking it is not interesting enough or important enough. Every human story has value.
Beautifully said. Well, Emily, we have talked a lot about storytelling today. We explained how to structure your story, what vocabulary to use, what makes stories engaging, and we shared parts of our own stories as examples.
Yes, and I hope our listeners feel inspired and equipped to tell their own stories in English. Your story is your power. It is what makes you you. When you can share it in English, you open doors to connections, opportunities, and understanding.
Absolutely. And to our listeners, I want to say, your story matters. Whether you think it is dramatic or ordinary, whether it includes big achievements or quiet lessons, your story is meaningful because it is yours.
Yes, do not wait until your English is perfect to share your story. Share it now, with imperfect grammar, with pauses to find words, with emotion in your voice. That is real communication.
Now, before we finish, let us ask our listeners something special.
Yes, we would love to hear from you. Dear listeners, we would love to hear a part of your story. In the comments, please share something about yourself. It can be anything: where you grew up, a challenge you overcame, why you are learning English, a person who influenced you, anything that is part of your story. Yes, please share with us. This is your opportunity to practice telling your story in English. Do not worry about perfection. Just share something real about you. We would love to read your stories.
And while you are here, please like this video if you found it meaningful. Your like tells us you appreciate this kind of authentic human content.
And please subscribe to English Club for more English learning videos. We create content that helps you communicate not just correctly, but authentically and meaningfully.
Please like and subscribe to English Club for more English learning videos. Thank you so much for listening today. Thank you for trusting us with parts of our stories and for preparing to share yours.
Thank you, everyone. Remember, your story is your gift to the world. Tell it with courage, with honesty, with pride. You have lived it, now share it.
Yes, every person you meet, Every connection you make, every opportunity you create, happens through storytelling. You are the author of your own narrative. Write it well, live it fully, tell it proudly.
Beautiful words, Paul. Well, take care, everyone. Tell your story.
Until next time, goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
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 Goodbye.